One suitcase carried secrets powerful enough to change the balance of power in the world. Inside were nuclear secrets, the kind nations would risk everything to obtain. The man who carried them was trusted by Western scientists and welcomed into the most secret research program in history. He helped build the atomic bomb. But secretly, he was also helping the Soviet Union build one. This is the story of Klaus Fuchs, the physicist whose decisions helped begin the nuclear arms race. Germany, Berlin, 1933.
Klaus Fuchs was a brilliant young student studying theoretical physics. His professors quickly noticed his exceptional mathematical ability. Quiet and disciplined, he spent most of his time focused on complex scientific problems. But outside the university, Germany was rapidly changing. In 1933, the Nazi Party came to power. Universities were transformed, political pressure increased, and many intellectuals became targets of the regime. Fuchs openly opposed the Nazis. He understood that remaining in Germany could destroy his career or even endanger his life. So he made a difficult decision. He left his country and fled to safety.
United Kingdom, Bristol, 1937. After leaving Germany, Klaus Fuchs continued his studies in Britain. There, he quickly earned respect within the scientific community. His work in theoretical physics attracted the attention of leading researchers. Soon, he was working with some of the brightest minds in Europe. But the world was moving toward war. By the late 1930s, scientists had begun to realize something extraordinary. Nuclear reactions could release enormous amounts of energy. Energy powerful enough to create a completely new type of weapon. A weapon unlike anything the world had ever seen. United Kingdom, Birmingham, 1941. As World War II intensified, Britain launched a secret scientific effort to study nuclear weapons. The project was known as tube alloys. Scientists were attempting to determine whether an atomic bomb could actually be built. Klaus Fuchs became an important member of the research team. His mathematical calculations helped solve difficult theoretical problems about nuclear reactions. Soon, his work attracted international attention. And eventually, it brought him into the most secret project of the war.
United States, Los Alamos, 1944.
Life inside the Los Alamos laboratory was intense and secretive. Scientists lived in a closed community, surrounded by military security. Every letter was monitored, every document carefully controlled. Even casual conversations were often restricted. Despite these controls, scientists continued pushing forward with extraordinary speed. New calculations were tested every week. Engineers constructed experimental devices. Physicists debated theoretical models late into the night. Klaus Fuchs played an important role in solving several complex problems involving nuclear implosion design. His colleagues respected him. Many considered him one of the most reliable members of the research team. But outside the laboratory, another network was also operating. Soviet intelligence agents were quietly searching for sources of information about the atomic bomb.
United States, Santa Fe, 1944. Secret meetings between Klaus Fuchs and Soviet contacts were arranged with extreme caution. The meetings usually took place in quiet locations away from the laboratory, sometimes in parks, sometimes during short walks in nearby towns. Fuchs would pass along scientific notes and explanations of key nuclear research. To the Soviet Union, this information was invaluable. Developing an atomic bomb required enormous scientific effort, years of calculations, years of experiments. But the documents Fuchs provided dramatically accelerated that process. Each report shortened the timeline. Each technical explanation helped Soviet scientists avoid mistakes. Slowly, piece by piece, the Soviet atomic program began catching up with the West.
United States, New Mexico, 1945.
On July 16, 1945, the world witnessed the first successful nuclear explosion, the Trinity test. Scientists watched as a massive flash of light illuminated the desert sky. The atomic age had begun. Just weeks later, nuclear bombs were dropped on Japan. World War II was coming to an end, but a new and dangerous era was beginning.
United Kingdom, London, 1949. By the late 1940s, Western intelligence agencies were becoming increasingly concerned. The Soviet Union had successfully tested its own atomic bomb, and it happened far sooner than Western governments expected. Scientists and intelligence officers began asking a difficult question. How had the Soviet program advanced so quickly? Investigators suspected that classified information had been leaked. Slowly, evidence began pointing toward a small number of scientists who had access to nuclear research. Among them was Klaus Fuchs. British authorities began quietly monitoring his activities. They studied past communications. They reviewed intelligence reports from Soviet defectors. Piece by piece, the evidence grew stronger. Eventually, investigators decided to confront him directly.
United Kingdom, London, 1950. During interrogation, Klaus Fuchs initially appeared calm and controlled, but the investigators already possessed crucial evidence: statements from intelligence sources, records of suspicious meetings, technical information that matched Soviet nuclear research. Gradually, the pressure increased. Finally, Fuchs admitted the truth. For years, he had secretly passed atomic information to Soviet agents. The confession shocked both scientists and government officials. One of the trusted physicists of the atomic program had been working as a spy.
Klaus Fuchs was sentenced to 14 years in prison. His actions had lasting consequences for global history. Because of the information he shared, the Soviet Union developed nuclear weapons far earlier than Western leaders expected. The balance of power between nations changed almost overnight. The world entered a new era, an era defined by nuclear deterrence, political tension, and the constant threat of atomic war. The Cold War had begun, and at the center of one of the most important intelligence cases of the 20th century stood a quiet physicist, Klaus Fuchs.